Ethereum is in a race against time. Not against a rival blockchain or regulators, but against itself. Its own runaway success has become its greatest enemy, creating a prison of crippling fees and painfully slow speeds. For years, the dream of a truly scalable global computer felt just out of reach, blurred by the smoke of network congestion. But now, the endgame is here. A series of final massive upgrades are Ethereum's only hope for survival. If this desperate multi-stage counterattack fails, the entire crypto world could be turned on its head. The world computer could become a digital relic, and investors who aren't ready for this seismic shift will be left behind. The shadow is real, and the final battle for the future of the decentralized internet has begun. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this final chapter of Ethereum's scaling saga looks like. My name is Hostname, and as a blockchain developer who works with this tech every day, I've been deep in the trenches watching this high-stakes drama unfold. We're going to cut through the jargon to understand what these upgrades are, why they're Ethereum's last real hope, and most importantly, what it all means for you and your portfolio. Think of this as an insider's journey into the heart of the machine, and if you want to stay ahead of the curve in crypto and get analysis that separates the signal from the noise, do me a favor and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. It helps the channel a ton and ensures you won't miss a thing as this story develops. Now, let's get into it. Today we're going to break down exactly what this final chapter of Ethereum's scaling saga looks like. My name is Hostname, and as a blockchain developer who works with this tech every day, I've been deep in the trenches watching this high-stakes drama unfold. We're going to cut through the jargon to understand what these upgrades are, why they're Ethereum's last real hope, and most importantly, what it all means for you and your portfolio. Think of this as an insider's journey into the heart of the machine, and if you want to stay ahead of the curve in crypto and get analysis that separates the signal from the noise, do me a favor and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed. It helps the channel a ton and ensures you won't miss a thing as this story develops. Now, let's get into it. To really get why Ethereum is in such a tight spot, we have to understand how it got here. Ethereum didn't just stumble into being the king of smart contracts. It earned that title. Since its launch in 2015, it's become the undisputed center of the decentralized universe. It is the bedrock of DeFi, the birthplace of NFTs, and the foundational layer for a digital economy worth hundreds of billions. But this is a story of a kingdom that grew too large for its roads. This success created a paradox, a shadow cast by its own light. The very network effects that made Ethereum dominant are now choking it. And for the average user, the little guy that crypto was supposed to empower, the pain is real. Let's start with the most obvious pain point. Gas fees. You felt it. You go to make a simple swap or maybe grab a small NFT, and suddenly you're hit with a gas fee that's higher than the transaction itself. During peak demand, a single DeFi transaction could have spiked to over $95. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a wall-blocking adoption. It makes entire categories of apps, like micropayments or blockchain gaming, totally unworkable on the main network. How can you build a decentralized Twitter if every tweet costs $10 to post? It's a system that accidentally prices out the very people it was meant to help. Then there's the second, equally frustrating problem, speed. Ethereum's mainnet chugs along at about 15 to 18 transactions per second. For perspective, Visa handles thousands. Now, that's not a fair architectural comparison, but it highlights the user experience problem. When the network gets busy, which is often, it becomes a digital traffic jam. Yeah, your transaction can get stuck pending for minutes, sometimes hours, creating an experience that feels broken compared to the instant web we're all used to. This isn't just a user problem, it's a developer's nightmare. Imagine you have a game-changing idea for a decentralized app. You want to build on Ethereum because that's where the users, the money, and the security are. But you know that on the mainnet, your users will face an expensive, clunky, and slow experience. Your vision is limited not by your creativity, but by the platform you're building on. This creates a huge incentive to look elsewhere, and that's when the vultures start to circle. While Ethereum has been struggling under its own weight, a new generation of blockchains has emerged, purpose-built to exploit its weaknesses. These aren't just copycats, they are serious competitors, often called Ethereum killers. They saw the hunger for a faster, cheaper alternative, and they built it. First, you have Solana, the speed demon. It boasts theoretical speeds of thousands of transactions per second for just pennies. For developers building things like exchanges or fast-paced games, Solana is almost irresistible. It's not perfect, of course. Solana has faced fair criticism over its relative centralization and has had network outages that shook confidence, but for many that raw performance is worth the trade-off. Then there's Avalanche, the king of customization. Its secret weapon is subnets, private custom-built blockchains connected to the main network. It's like having your own private highway instead of being stuck in Ethereum's public traffic jam. And we can't forget projects like Cosmos and Polkadot, which have a different vision entirely, an internet of blockchains. They offer toolkits for building specialized chains that can all talk to each other, a stark contrast to Ethereum's one-size-fits-all design. So with all these faster, cheaper options, is everyone leaving Ethereum? The answer for now is no. Ethereum has a powerful gravity built on years of network effects. It has the biggest developer community, the most mature tools, and the deepest liquidity. People and protocols are deeply embedded in its ecosystem. The real threat isn't a sudden collapse, but a slow, creeping irrelevance. The danger is that Ethereum becomes a dumb settlement layer, a slow, expensive backend nobody touches directly. A world where all the exciting innovation happens on other chains, which only drop a receipt on Ethereum for final security. In that world, Ethereum survives, but its grand vision of being the world computer dies. That's the looming shadow. That's the race it has to win. But Ethereum isn't going down without a fight. The core developers have been working on a multi-year roadmap that is basically a complete re-architecting of the network. It's a strategic two-pronged counterattack designed to neutralize its competitors and secure its dominance. The first prong is already active, the Layer 2 revolution. Think of it this way. Ethereum's mainnet is a single congested superhighway. Every transaction is a car, leading to traffic jams and expensive tolls. Layer 2s are a network of high-speed bullet trains like Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, and zkSync that run alongside the highway. They carry thousands of transactions at incredible speeds for a fraction of the cost. At the end of the line, they just post a single compressed summary back to the highway, proving all the passengers arrived safely. This is Ethereum's scaling strategy today, but until recently, it still had a cost problem. That all changed with the Dencun upgrade in March 2024. Dencun introduced something called proto-danksharding, and specifically a new data type called blobs. Before Dencun, these Layer 2 bullet trains had to post their summaries in the most expensive real estate on Ethereum. It was like buying a Super Bowl ad just to post a receipt. Dencun created a brand new cheap data garage just for these Layer 2s called blob space. This dedicated storage slashed L2 data costs by over 90%. The effect was immediate. Transaction fees on networks like Base and Arbitrum plummeted to fractions of a cent. Finally, making crypto usable for everyday things, Dencun was the fuel injection that turned the bullet trains into hyperloops. Within the Layer 2 world, there's a fascinating rivalry between two technologies, optimistic rollups and zk rollups. Optimistic rollups, like Arbitrum and Optimism, work on an innocent until proven guilty model. They assume all transactions are valid unless challenged. This model is mature and has huge ecosystems. zk rollups, like zkSync and Starknet, use advanced cryptography to generate a validity proof that mathematically guarantees every transaction is correct. This is more secure and faster for final settlement, and recent breakthroughs are making them a powerful reality. This L2 ecosystem is the now solution, but it's only half the strategy. The second prong of the counterattack is the final upgrades to the base layer itself, Pectra and Fusaka. The Pectra upgrade, which went live in May 2025, was one of the most feature-packed updates in Ethereum's history, bundling together 11 distinct improvement proposals. EIPs. Two of these are absolute game changers. The first and most important for bringing in new users is EIP 7702. This massively upgrades wallets with a concept called account abstraction. For years, you needed a special account to start transactions, and you always had to have ETH to pay for gas. EIP 7702 is a huge step forward, allowing regular wallets to temporarily act like smart contracts for a single transaction. It's been called the iPhone moment for crypto wallets because it unlocks user-friendly features that were impossible before, like transaction batching, approving and swapping a token in one click instead of two separate annoying transactions. Gas sponsorship. Apps can now pay for their users' gas fees, so new users don't have to figure out how to buy ETH just to get started. Social recovery. You can set up trusted friends or devices to help you recover your account, instead of relying on a single seed phrase that can be lost or stolen. The second major part of Pectra, EIP 7691, doubles the amount of blob space available, increasing the target from 3 to 6 blobs and the max from 6 to 9. This is a direct sequel to Dencun, making layer 2s even cheaper and bigger. Pectra also included EIP 7251, which helps big stakers by raising the validator cap from 32 ETH to 2048 ETH, reducing network load. We're covering a lot of ground, and we're about to go even deeper into Ethereum's future. If you're finding this useful, consider subscribing to our weekly newsletter. It's where I share personal insights and trends I'm watching before they hit a video. It's free, and the link is in the description. It's the best way to stay ahead. As massive as Pectra was, it's just the opening act. The next major upgrade, scheduled for December 3rd, 2025, is named Fusaka. If Pectra was about wallets and layer 2s, Fusaka is about preparing the base layer for hyperscale. The centerpiece of Fusaka is PeerDAS, which stands for Peer Data Availability Sampling. This is the next evolution of sharding and a huge technological leap. Here's why it's so important. For a blockchain to be truly decentralized, regular people need to be able to run a node to validate the network. If that requires a supercomputer, only big corporations can do it, and the network centralizes. As Ethereum adds more blob data, it gets heavier for nodes. PeerDAS solves this with clever cryptography. Instead of making every validator download every blob, it lets them download small, random samples. By checking these samples, they can be mathematically certain the whole blob is available. This is a profound breakthrough. It means Ethereum can massively increase data for layer 2s, delivering another huge boost to capacity without overwhelming the nodes that secure the network. This keeps hardware requirements low, preserving decentralization while enabling massive scale for L2s. Fusaka is expected to deliver another 40 to 60% reduction in L2 data fees, and it doesn't stop there. Beyond Fusaka, the roadmap stretches into 2026 and beyond with a final crucial upgrade, Verkle Trees. Now, this is highly technical, but it's a new, far more efficient data structure. The main benefit is that Verkle Trees enable stateless clients. This is the holy grail. It means in the future, you could run a validating node without storing the entire multi-hundred gigabyte history of the blockchain. This would make running a node so easy it could potentially be done on a smartphone, leading to a massive boost in decentralization and security. Put it all together, a thriving L2 ecosystem made ultra cheap by blobs and PeerDAS, a seamless user experience from account abstraction, and a maximally decentralized base layer secured by stateless clients. And you see the final picture. It's a multi-layered system designed to offer the best of all worlds. The ironclad security of Ethereum's mainnet with the hyperscale speed and low cost of layer 2s. So does this mean Ethereum wins and everyone else dies? Not at all. The future of crypto is about coexistence, not conquest. The goal isn't to make Ethereum the only chain, but to solidify its place as the foundational settlement layer, the ultimate source of truth for the entire decentralized economy. In this multi-chain future, you won't think about using Ethereum or using Solana. You'll just use an app. That app might do its fast calculations on Solana, store data on a network like Arweave, and then settle its most critical transactions on Ethereum for ultimate security. The lines between blockchains will blur, connected by new bridges that let assets and data flow seamlessly. Ethereum's role shifts from being the congested city everyone has to live in to being the world's central bank and Supreme Court. Other chains will specialize in their own niches, gaming, social media, trading, while leaning on Ethereum's security as their ultimate backstop. This is a much more robust vision than one chain trying to do everything. So, as an investor, how do you position yourself for this? This is not financial advice, but here's a framework for thinking about the opportunities. First, the most direct winners are the Layer 2 solutions themselves. Projects like Arbitrum, Optimism, zkSync, and Base are the main customers of Ethereum's new data-focused business model. As Ethereum gets cheaper for them, their own profit margins and user capacity grow. The growth of Ethereum is now tied directly to the success of its L2s. Second, what about the value of ETH itself? A common fear is that if activity moves to L2s, demand for ETH will drop. The opposite is likely true. Ethereum is essentially selling block space, specifically blob space, to Layer 2 networks. The currency for this digital real estate is ETH. All the economic activity across dozens of thriving L2s ultimately funnels back to the base layer, creating constant demand for ETH to pay for security and data. ETH becomes the reserve asset of the entire digital economy. Third, this doesn't mean you should ignore the competitors. A multi-chain world means strong, specialized layer 1s like Solana will likely continue to thrive. A diversified approach with exposure to both the Ethereum ecosystem and leading competitors lets you capture growth from multiple angles. Finally, keep an eye on the interoperability projects. The teams building the bridges and messaging protocols that connect these blockchain cities are like those who built the railways of the industrial age. They're a critical piece of the puzzle. The looming shadow cast by Ethereum's own success was an existential crisis, and the threat from faster, cheaper rivals forced the network to a breaking point. But Ethereum didn't just sit there. Through a deliberate multi-year campaign of radical re-engineering, it has prepared its counteroffensive. The combination of the Layer 2 revolution, supercharged by the Dencun upgrade, and the final upgrades of Pectra and Fusaka, is not just a patch. It's a fundamental overhaul designed to win the scaling wars. Account abstraction will finally deliver a user experience ready for the masses, while PeerDAS and Verkle Trees will provide the near infinite scale needed to support a global economy, all without sacrificing the decentralization that makes it valuable in the first place. The race is on, the stakes have never been higher, and the outcome isn't guaranteed. But with these changes, Ethereum is ready to not just survive, but to solidify its place as the immutable foundation for the future of the internet. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this roadmap? Are you bullish on Ethereum's Layer 2 ecosystem, or do you think a competitor will win the day? Let me know in the comments below.